B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach, shiur Torah, Bruchim Habayim, Baruch Hashem, good to be back. Took a week off. No, I did not have corona, don't have to worry. We're back here in Aventura, Florida, doing our weekly shiur on Jewish HaShkafa. Baruch Hashem, a lot has happened in the last week. Even though I was not here, we're still working, still doing a lot of different things, and a lot of interesting things happened. People were worried about why no shiur. Just once in a while you get a cold, but the reason why I took off, I usually don't take off for colds, or much worse than that. But in today's world, you have to be a little bit more conscious of other people than you are normally. I know that even if there's a 1% chance of somebody getting nervous, if I cough during the shiur or something like that, or you see me wipe my nose, it's not worth it. Not for you guys, and also not the people that are watching, that are always looking for some reason to go against. Oh, look, Chilul Hashem, look, this guy, he has corona and he's teaching. Those people, this is Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of them. They actually have been working very hard this past week. I'll tell you a little bit update about that. BeEzrat Hashem, today's shiur, we have a nice list of people, BeEzrat Hashem, to do a shiur for. Where BeEzrat Hashem, the shiur tonight will be for a refuah shlema for Rav Ephraim ben Shulamit, David ben Esriya, Doris bat Jora, Rabbanit Levana bat Sarah, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, Yitro ben Avraham, Talia bat Sarah, Jonas ben Sherry Haley, Yosef Yitzchak ben Baila Rochel, Stefan ben Katarina, Yitro ben Avraham, Talia bat Sarah, Michal bat Yael, Serach bat Batya, Batya bat Sarah, Orit bat Ilana, and also for a Atzlacha Rabba for Marsha bat Julie and Ayla bat Marsha, and also Shaul ben Farzane, Yitro ben Avraham, Oshri ben Doris, Gabi ben Doris, Elad ben Doris, David ben Esriya, and all of those wonderful people that Baruch Hashem continue to donate and support our cause, support our work day and night. It's not an easy thing today to donate because of everything that's happening. Most importantly, that the Yetzer Hara is working overtime, and he's doing a lot of different things to make sure that he at least fulfills his obligation to try to slow us down, and not just with sickness, but also just simply by confusing people. For anyone who follows some of the media or the different pages, Baruch Hashem, in the last week has been 4 or 5 different attacks by different Reshaim that not that necessarily they deserve a stage, but it's important to also address some of these things just to eliminate confusion in case anybody didn't see or doesn't know who we are, and this is the first lecture they're ever watching. They watched some Reshaim write an article about us or something like that, so this is the first face they get. So of course the Rasha from Bet Shemesh wrote another couple of articles because he has nothing else to write about other than heresy. So he wrote a couple of more articles about us, about how he doesn't agree that Tikkun HaBrit should be taught to the public, because according to him, it's not a big deal. According to him, and some opinion he got from a toilet paper that he found in the street, he doesn't think that the Shulchan Aruch is right. He doesn't think that the Chachamim from all of the Edot, whether it's the Hasidim, with Ashkenazim, Sfaradim, the Litaim, from 500 years ago, from 2,000 years ago, Rambam, Rashi, everybody's wrong except him and Bet Shemesh, him and his dragons that he plays with in the zoo. That's what he does for a living. He's in a zoo. We're just not sure who's the animal. He writes that it shouldn't be taught to people. So who are you going to teach it to? Who are you going to teach it to? Oh no, you shouldn't teach it to kids. Who you should teach it to? Senior citizens, where the body doesn't work anymore. Who are you going to teach it to? Oh, maybe it's too early. So for all of those people that are conscious of the political correctness of teaching about Tikkun HaBrit, first and foremost, our biggest answer is the most important one, which is that we came out with another video today teaching about Tikkun HaBrit. Another video today, nice 20 minutes to scare the living lights out of anybody that watches it. Make sure, do not waste seed. Why? You're going to lose your Olam Haba and Olam Hazeh. Bottom line. Not because I said it, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu said it. I'm simply a messenger. Everything that I say has a source in the Torah. You don't like it, go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, have a conversation with them. I don't know what's going to happen at the end. All I know is that this is what Chazal says time and time again. To go find some weird posek somewhere that said maybe yes and maybe no, but nobody agrees with anyway, you want to go rely your Olam Haba on that? Be my guest, that's your business. But if you look at all of the Chachamim and compile all of the data and you see this neged this, there's no comparison. There's simply no comparison. But unfortunately there's enough Reshaim that make enough noise. And for all of those people that are looking for leniencies in order to waste seed, in order to be immoral, in order to cheat on their wife, in order to be with goyim, in order to do all types of things with their eyes and with their bodies and so on, of course they're going to ignore Chazal, they're going to ignore the Rishonim, they're going to ignore the Achronim, and they're going to make it seem, no, it shouldn't be taught. First and foremost, you should know that Rabbi Yashiv said that he taught his children about Gama Brit at 4 years old. 4 years old. So you're all late. 4 years old, he already told his kids, do not touch your Brit. Rabbi Yashiv, there's a poster in Eretz Yisrael. I saw with my own eyes, his words on it. I teach my kids, at 4 years old, don't touch your Brit. Rabbi Ovadia Alav Shalom already taught his kids about Gehenom at 6 years old. Not the details that you saw in shiur number 84 that scared you for the rest of your life, but nonetheless, he taught them there's a place of fire. My Rav, Rabbi Ephraim, every single one of his kids, from the littlest one to the oldest one, already knows about Gehenom. Why? If you know about Gehenom when you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, you don't need to be taught it when you're 16 and 26 and 36. Why? It's already ingrained in you. It's already ingrained in you. If you wait until the kid's a teenager or older, he's already made enough sins that he's become addicted to it, and it's very hard to overcome. Very hard to overcome. So this is specifically a mitzvah that you teach at all ages. This is also part of the reason why Chazal tell us that Eren Onan, which is one of the foundational places that we learn about Gama Brit, were 8 years old themselves, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed both of them. Now of course you're going to say, yeah, but maybe they do this and maybe this, that. Good luck with that. Bottom line is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not like this sin. Anyone that says otherwise is simply going against the Torah. Rabbi Yaron Kotler, who built Lakewood, not a yeshiva in Lakewood, he built Lakewood, said publicly that, for all of those people that are afraid to teach this publicly, because of course you're always going to find some Erev Rav that's going to tell you, listen, maybe you should teach it, but only one-on-one. Well, first of all, how are you going to get to 20 million people? And that's just the Jewish people. How are you going to get to another 8 billion people, non-Jews, one-on-one? Are you going to set up the meetings for me? How are you going to get to all those people? You're not going to get to those people. HaKadosh Baruch Hu invented the internet for a reason. Of course, you speak everything with Kedusha, you speak everything with the way you're supposed to, but the point being, you're supposed to teach it to the public in a certain way. You don't want to teach it? Fine. Don't go against it, don't say things against it, but who goes against it? As I taught you guys many times, the people that go against it are the people that are criminals themselves. Why? It's the only reason. It's the only reason you would ever go against such a thing. You have an addiction to pornography or to all types of other garbage, and you feel bad that everybody else is doing tshuva except you. So, Rabbi Yaron Kotler himself said, Chas v'shalom, that we'd feel comfortable, like people do, to talk about their personal, intimate life, but we feel embarrassed to talk about Kedusha, meaning this specific issue. People talk about their filthy lives, and all of the mistakes they make in their marriages, and all the mistakes they make in dating, and all of the disgusting hobbies that they have freely. Oh, what'd you do this weekend? Yeah, I met 3 girls. Oh, wow, oh, Chazaku Baruch. Freely they talk about it. But no, go teach that same guy about Kedusha. Teach him about Gama Brit. Teach him about what's going to happen to him if he doesn't do tshuva. No, that's not the way. Rabbi Yaron Reuven says, Chas v'shalom, we get to such a day. Unfortunately, we got to such a day. So, for anyone that's confused of who should be taught Gama Brit, everyone. Everyone. I have several Talmidei Chachamim, serious Talmidei Chachamim. I'm not talking about Talmidei Chachamim because they contacted me. I'm talking about serious Talmidei Chachamim because they've been Talmidei Chachamim before I was even born. And, or actually a little after. And that tell me that they listened to those shiurim specifically. That's how they got to know who I was and so on. They listened to it for chizuk. For chizuk. Why? It's not an easy thing no matter how old you are. You're 30, you're 40, you're 50, it's never an easy thing. You're married, you're single, it's never an easy thing. Someone asked me today, listen, what does a person do if he's tried everything? He learns Torah, he does mitzvot, he looks for a shidduch, doesn't find. He's already in his 20s, he hasn't found a shidduch. So what? You're telling me that what is he going to do? Why, he should kill himself? No, no one said kill yourself. But why does it mean that if you can't find a shidduch, you have to go against the Shem? Like, why does one thing mean the other? Like, if a Kadosh Baruch Hu didn't bless you, you go against him? Like, what does it mean? The reality is, Rabotai, there is no leniency to waste seed because you did not find a shidduch. There is no leniency to have a girlfriend before you got married. There is no leniency to do any of those things. None. Zero. Nothing. You want to go do it? Chavod. It's your business. I'm simply giving you the information. I'm giving you the information. You want to do what you want to do? Do what you want to do. The reality is there's an endless amount of sources that we've provided over the years. I think we have something close to 100 different shiurim and clips about this topic. But it's never enough. It's never enough simply because this is one of those issues that needs constant chizuk. If you watch the 100 shiurim, watch them again. And after you watch them again, watch them again and again and again and again. Why? This is just one of those topics. If you're married, watch them again. If you're single, watch them again. You got divorced, watch them again. You send them to your friend, you should watch them again. How many times? Until you leave this world. Why? Because this is an issue that needs chizuk. Because there's enough reshaim. Sometimes they have a beard and a hat, and sometimes they don't. They're going to try to tell you, no, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's only natural. It's only your body. It's only your body. If somebody could hide the air conditioner, if you could lower it, please. It's only your body. Your body's normal thing. Your body's normal that. There's no bigger foolishness than that. There's simply no bigger foolishness than that because the reality is your body does a lot of things. Doesn't mean that you should use it for that. Your body can shoot a gun. What does that mean? You shoot everybody? Your body can take your hand and slap somebody in the face. That means you should slap them? What kind of stupidity is this? If you did not find a shidduch, that's because HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not give it to you yet. That's why. Because He wants you to overcome the test. Yeah, but it's hard. Exactly. Why do you think people get degrees in college? Le'avdil. Like it's worth anything more than a toilet paper. Unless it's for an actual profession you'll use it for. If you got a communications degree or some English degree and you're not becoming an English teacher, you've wasted $250,000 of your parents' money. But why do you think people get doctorate degrees and masters and all types of... What do you think? Why? Because they passed an easy test? No, because they got something after hard work. Why do you think somebody's going to go to Gan Eden? Because they overcame some serious tests, some serious difficulties in this world. You couldn't find a shidduch and you still overcame it. The Gemara says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you. How much? There's a few different types of people that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves more than the normal. One of them is a young man, meaning a man that's single, who overcomes this test. It's not going to say it about a young man that doesn't eat a hamburger. It doesn't say it if a young man doesn't go to the Knicks game. It doesn't say it about a young man, even if that young man learns Torah. It doesn't say it about that. What does it say it about? Somebody that overcomes this particular issue. Why? Because your body yearns for it. So you overcoming it is a very big deal in Hashem's eyes. You failing is also a very big deal in Hashem's eyes. So the answer is for all of those people that are wondering, what do I do? I'm 25, I'm 35 years old, and I'm single. What do I do? Nothing. You wait. And you learn more Torah, and you do more tshuva, and you ask Hashem, please help me find somebody because I want to do your will. That's what you do. Now, if there's chas v'shalom, some type of seed that leaves your body while you're sleeping, as long as you watched your eyes during the day, as the Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah says, watch your eyes during the day, so evil does not come to you at night. As long as you watched your eyes, and it's not because of the things that you watched on the internet or in the streets or other places, and it simply came to you because of perhaps the past, or even just because, you have nothing to worry about. But if it's because you look at things, you look at pornography, you look at immodesty, you look at all the filth in the world, like freely, like as if nothing's going to happen, and something happens, guess what? You're guilty. You're guilty. Now I'm going to give you something that's going to scare you a little bit, but it is what it is. If it happens to you in a dream on Yom Kippur, tell me. I'm not going to go any more than that. If it happens to you on Yom Kippur, it happens to you, no, you do this. You do it yourself, don't tell me. Don't tell me. You're on your own. You do it on your own, Yom Kippur, don't tell me. Please, you're just going to make me cry. But it happens to you on its own, on Yom Kippur, tell me. That's enough said on that one. So that's one particular issue we have to address. Second, a bunch of you guys owe me $10,000. Bunch of you guys. Why? Apparently I charge $10,000 for conversions. I didn't know about this. So you guys owe me a bunch of money. I don't know, until this day, for all these years, I've been telling people I do it for free, and the only fee is the BeDin charges a fee. It's not my money. I don't get a penny out of it. Many times I don't even get paid for the flight to go to the BeDin. But apparently somebody says that I charge $10,000 for conversion. So apparently all you guys owe me money now. Okay, I'm a millionaire already. I don't have to go to Wall Street anymore. They made money for me while I was sleeping. So the reality is, Rabotai, is that Reshaim, when they're picking at straws and they have nothing to, they have to create stuff. They have to create all types of things in order to, make themselves sound right. Because they do all types of fake conversions on a beach with people with clothes on, which really in reality don't have clothes on. They have clothes on when they go to the mikveh, but that clothes is not considered clothes when you're in the street. But that's the type of convert they have. And they like to make all types of false things. They like to say all types of things. Why? Because they want attention. They want attention. They want to make sure that people pick them because they're the righteous ones, because they're the good ones. We'll talk about that too today. Why? Because there is a strange and unusual situation that happened in the Torah, in the Tanakh, to a group of people that when I heard it the first time, tell you the truth, it's very scary. Why? If I say, for example, the Torah says, Amechalel Shabbat, according to the Rambam, according to the Psak Halacha that we have today, someone's a Mechalel Shabbat Befaresia, meaning someone that continuously violates Shabbat, he knows Shabbat exists, doesn't really care, continues sinning, driving to shul, or does whatever he wants. According to the Torah, he's considered 100% an idol worshiper. That's the Halacha. Now, I say that. Some people don't like it. Some people get scared, but more or less, yalla, move on. But if David HaMelech came here, and he told you, if you have bad midot, not mechalel Shabbat, you keep Shabbat. You keep Shabbat. You protect your breed. You keep the whole Torah. But you have bad midot. You can get to a point of not being part of Am Yisrael. According to David HaMelech. That's a little more scary. Why? He did it one time. Until today, it stands for those specific people that he did it to. So, unfortunately, those Reshaim that want to make videos and want to go against the Torah, the Chavo, do what you want. All you're doing is you're causing damage to yourself. There's another nice video, actually high quality video, came out today. When I saw it the first time about a month ago, It's a few weeks ago, whenever it was, I thought it was really good quality. I said, oh, wow. Only problem is it's talking bad about me. That's the only bad part about it. But what does it do? It says, oh yeah, listen, look, he says things, and the Goyim like him, the Antisemites like him because they're saying this, they're saying that, and I've already addressed this issue. But they made a video to try to vilify me, and in essence, try to say, oh look, he's giving power to the Goyim, there's more anti-Semitism because of him. Reality is, Rabotai, is this. I tell you things that are in the Torah. You like it, good. You don't like it, it won't make a difference to me. I'm simply telling you what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, what the sages says. Whether you like it or not, that's not what I come here for. That's not what I do the lectures for. That's not what I pretty much don't sleep the rest of the week for. It's not for that. I do it in order to give people the information so you all make educated decisions of what to do with your life. Now, Am Yisrael, unfortunately, has a very strong Yetzirah throughout all of the generations. Not just today. All of the generations, unfortunately, we've had sinners, we've had idol worshippers, we've had Reshayim, we've had all types of things. We've also always had Tzaddikim. That's what kept us alive. It's not because of the Reshayim that we're still here. Now, if we do not use the teachings of the sages, which says that we have to know about all of our mistakes in order not to repeat them, and we simply ignore the reality of things, the reality that we are sinning in 1, 2, or 3 places, the reality that we are making mistakes in 1, 2, or 3 places, the reality that we have made those mistakes and got punished for them, whether it be the Holocaust or the Spanish Inquisitions or the Bet HaMikdash, and so if we simply ignore it and pretend everything is dandy, then guess what? You simply have to take the Torah Chas v'Shalom and cut it in half or more. Why? Last week's parasha, Kadosh Baruch Hu gives us a rebuke of a lifetime. Anybody that reads this parasha with real commentary by at least Rashi and does not do tshuva should admit themselves to a mental institution. Why? This parasha says the worst possible things that a Kadosh Baruch Hu can do to a person in this world, and this is not even Gehenna. Gehenna is much worse. Why? Gehenna is spiritual pain, which is P60. It's times 60 to the lowest level, and so on and so forth. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us such horrible things in last week's parasha, Parashat Ki Tavo, that happened to us a few times. And anyone that reads it and doesn't do tshuva after that, even if you're frum, and you don't do tshuva after it, there's something wrong with you. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, listen, in the beginning of the parasha, I told you, "V'samachta b'kol atov asher natan lecha Adonai Elohecha," that you were happy with all of the good that I gave you. Shtabach shemo. It's a yofi. What a great mitzvah. To be happy with the good He gave us. How easy is that? Then He tells us, a few verses later, Liyot lo le'am zgula. You'll be a special nation. A special blessed nation. You, Am Yisrael, a special nation. More than the Chinese, more than the Americans, more than the Iranians, more than whoever. You can be a special nation. That's your obligation. That's your commandment. That's also your guidance. That's your advice. That's your everything. You be a special nation. Great mitzvah. Why wouldn't I want to be a special nation? Happy, special nation. But there's a problem here. How can I be happy if I got all these problems? Bills are piling up. All types of people going against me. This one's trying to fire me. This one's trying to not pay me. This one's trying to cheat on me. This one's trying to this. This one's trying... People have a slew of problems. Every day I got 3, 4, 500 text messages and emails every single day, which people give me their problems, whether it's rape, or it's abductions, or it's financial crisis, or it's a marriage crisis. I mean, you name the problem, I deal with it. For free, not $10,000, that's next week. I don't have to go back to Wall Street with $10,000. If I really make as much money as people say I make, I don't have to go back to Wall Street anymore, guys. That's what I was thinking. How can you be happy with all of these problems? Hashem Yishmor v'Yatzil. How many problems do we have? Murders every other day, accidents every second. Vast majority of the world hates you. And even if you're not Jewish, you have problems just like everybody has problems. So how, if I'm a Jew, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me, at the beginning of Parashat Kitavo, before he told me about the punishments, he told me you're obligated to be happy for all of the good that I give you. And you'll be a special nation. How can I be happy? How can I be happy? First, what does it mean to be happy as a Jew? I'll give you a small, minor example that I just learned in my Rabbanit of what it means. And we did a shiur about it, a quick one, last week in Hebrew. And I think it's fantastic. If you're a Jew and you live in Israel, a lot of places are kosher. Kosher is relatively standard there. Unfortunately, because of the million Russians that came, vast majority being goyim, that they went to Israel over the years, there's a lot of pig stores also. But there's more kosher stores. So to get kosher over there, you don't have to look on the map, where's the next kosher store like you do in America. But in America, in England, in Australia, and different places, you want to go eat kosher, you have to, look, where's the kosher place? Even the Jewish community. So that means if you're driving from my house in Cooper City, and you're driving, let's say, on Griffin, okay? You're driving on Sterling, or you're driving on one of these streets where on both sides there's restaurants and shopping centers and so on. What are you seeing? You're seeing 99% of the places not kosher, not allowed to go there. Not kosher Chinese, not kosher Indian, not kosher this one, not kosher that one, not kosher this, not kosher that, not allowed to go here, not allowed to go there. No, 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 nothing, get away, run away, reverse, abort, mayday, mayday. Can't go nowhere. Finally, you see a little rinky-dink place sends falafel and pita. Kosher, but you're not even chose the Rabbanut yet. You know what a Jew is, Rabotai Yekarim? You know what V'samachta? V'samachta b'kol hatov asher natan lecha Hashem, that you are happy with all the good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you, and you are an Am Zgula, that you're a special nation. You know what you're not supposed to be happy for that one little kosher place. No! You're supposed to be happy for all of those non-kosher places. You're supposed to say, Shtabach Shimo La'ad, look at me. I'm part of this Am Zgula that's not allowed to have any of this. Look how special it is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs this entire world. All the planets, all of the different galaxies, and the stars, and the clouds, and the rains, and the atmosphere, and the animals, and all types of germs, and all types of things we see and we don't see. Why? For this book. For this book that says, I am not allowed to go to all of those places. How amazing is that? How amazing that I can't take part in any of this. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to be of the mindset of saying, oh man, look what I'm missing out. Chinese, Jewish, Japanese, Chinese, this means, that means, this means, Zionese, Islamese. No, it's the opposite. See, look how special it is. This entire world functions on the fact that there's going to be one little pita place with some hummus and falafel, because they haven't gotten the HaShkafa from the Rabbanut yet to get meat. That place I'm allowed to eat. How amazing is that? That's what you're supposed to. That's what a Jew is. A Jew is happy and that good. Not that there's a little pita place. That you cannot have any of the other stuff. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu said so. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you fulfilling that mitzvah that you cannot partake in all of this, that's what makes you special. That's a big deal. Now, if you still feel like you're missing out in the movies, in the theaters, in the games, and all the theatrics, and all the other stuff, there's a little bit of chisaron, a little bit of missing out in your Judaism. And this is why you'll see that every one of these, Erev Rav, every one of these Reshaim that love to go against, if you look at their personal profiles, whether it be on social media or their personal hobbies and their personal lives, what do you see with them? Constantly advertising the world of the Goyim. Advertising the news, advertising the games, advertising the movies, advertising the secular books. Rarely something related to Torah, like badiavad, like after. Like for every 87 posts about the secular world for the Goyim, they advertise something little for Judaism. You know, just to remind themselves, like a mezuzah. Like a mezuzah they bought 37 years ago for their bar mitzvah. You know, it reminds them. That's why they go against, because they're so deep inside the non-Jewish world, they feel like they're missing out. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, V'samachta, you have to be happy with the fact that you cannot partake in all of this. Why? It's not for you. It's not for you. That's what makes you special. If you're going to wear the same clothes as everybody else, you're just like everybody else. If you're going to act like just like everybody else, you're just like everybody else. But how come anybody that deals with nature and so on, if they go to a beehive, they're not looking for the bee named Steve. They're not looking for Joan. What are they looking for? The queen. Why? She looks different. When you look at an ant farm, you don't look at, oh yeah, this guy's probably name is Gabi. And that guy, Yaron. That one, Elad. That one. No. What are you looking for? You're looking for the leader. Who are they all following? Who is the special one? Who is the special one? You have the ability to be a special one every day and be proud of it. But if you're constantly looking at the world of the Goyim, how are you going to feel any special? You want to be like them. Now there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that it's not you. If you were born a non-Jew and that's your world, enjoy it. No problem. There's nothing wrong with you. You're doing your role. If you're a goy that starts acting like you're a Jew without an interest of becoming a Jew, then there's something wrong with you. You're a horse that painted themselves to look like a zebra. There's something wrong with you. You play your role. He plays his role. Everybody plays their role. It's like today's world. Everything's upside down. The girl wants to be a boy. The boy wants to be a girl. Everybody's crazy. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said you have to be happy about this. Why? If you're happy about it, you're going to be special. And if you're special, all of these horrible things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that are going to happen to us are not going to happen. Rabbi Yisrael Misalant writes in Or Yisrael, the beginning of the Sefer, it may actually be by his Talmid, Rabbi Yitzchak Blazer, because both of them wrote in the book. If anyone knew simply the basics of what punishment is in Olam HaEmet, they would simply thank Hashem just for not sending them there without giving them any reward. Meaning, Hashem, I will fulfill all of the mitzvot, do everything you say for no reward. Just don't send me there. Don't send me to Gehenom. Don't send me to Kafakela. Why? It's that bad. But here we're not talking about Kafakela. Here we're not talking about Gehenom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that a person that makes all of these immorality crimes is cursed. Cursed is a person that degrades his father and mother. How many times did you see, or perhaps you yourself or I myself, degrade our parents? Your father asked you to do something. Nah, come on, Nuaba, again? How about that? Kadosh Baruch Hu says, cursed. And all of Am Yisrael, all of the tzaddikim, that second, your father asked you for a coffee. That second, your father asked you for a ride. That second, your father asked you for a loan. Son, can you give me $500? I don't have any money, but I need to pay the bill. No, come on, Abba, I worked so hard for it. That instant, that second, All of Am Yisrael, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, David, Shlomo, Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron, Yeshua ben Nun, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, everybody. All of them say, cursed is this person, and all of the nation says, Amen. Why? Because you're a nasty human being, and you don't know how to say, thank you, Abba, for the opportunity to let me fulfill a mitzvah. Whatever you want. Whatever you want. The 10 Commandments were not a list of suggestions. When your mother asks you to do something, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, she's asking you, I'm telling you. You don't want to do it? Cursed is such a person. And all of the tzaddikim that ever lived are saying amen on that curse. And that's just the first one. Who wants to arrive at Olam Haba, see their list, books and books full of curses on them, for all of the nasty comments they made to their parents. Cursed is the person who causes a blind person to go astray on the road. Who is this referring to? Chazal tell us this refers to a machtia rabim, someone that teaches the public something that's against the Torah, teaches them lies, tells them that there's no reward and punishment, tells them that everybody goes to Gan Eden, tells them that Hashem is going to apologize to you, tells them all types of things that are against the Torah. Such a person is cursed. You publicize their shiurim, you take part in their shiurim, you're part of that curse also, Hashem Yishmo. And all of Am Yisrael, all of the tzaddikim, say Amen. Cursed is a person who perverts the judgment of a convert, an orphan or a widow. You convert people that are not people that you should convert. Why? They don't even know what Judaism is in order for them to want to be Jewish. They show up to the conversion with barely any clothes on because they haven't learned about modesty yet. In a world where it's very easy to learn about Judaism in a matter of 5 minutes. You go on the internet, you go to BeEzratHashem.org, you go to a few different websites, you go to Chabad, you go to any normal Jewish website and you'll learn about these mitzvot. This person showed up to a conversion without even knowing about modesty yet. Obviously that's not a person that knows what it means to be Jewish. Now yes, you're going to say, yeah, but the Shulchan Aruch says don't teach them too many mitzvot because maybe they're going to not want to do it. Yeah, no one says teach them all the mitzvot. But there's some basic things that society needs to know. Why? Because like we just said, someone that causes other people to sin is cursed. So this woman, she wants to convert, but she's still causing the public to sin because she doesn't know how to put clothes on. Now yes, you have poskim, Gdolei Ador, that says, yeah, convert is a baby for the first 20 years of their conversion. They don't get punished in this life because they're still considered a baby. But those other people that are seeing her immodest are still sinning. Even though she's not judged for it in that moment, and she's not going to get punished for it in this life for the first 20 years, doesn't mean she won't get punished after 20 years. It doesn't mean she won't get punished in the next world. It also doesn't mean that the people that are sinning because of her are not going to get punished. So if you convert a woman without her even knowing and accepting the mitzvah of modesty, you are cursed for converting such a person. Why? Obviously, they don't even know the basic level of Judaism. Don't know nothing. No, I like the Torah. What do you like? Oh, I like the stories with King David. That doesn't mean you want to be Jewish. It just means you like stories. If you want to be Jewish, that means you have to accept all of the mitzvot. Yeah, but I don't know all of them. Yeah, but you have to be willing to accept all of them. Whether you know them or whether you don't know them. Oh, I'm not sure. Can you tell me what they are? Okay, no problem. I'll tell you what they are. That's what they're learning for. But the point is to convert people randomly just to pretend like you're some good guy. Randomly convert people. That's perverting the judgment of the proselytes. But worse yet, these Batei Din that torture people. The guy's already ready. The girl's already ready. They've been ready. They've already been on this journey for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. They're done. They know already. They accepted everything. They're living as Jews already. But the Beit Din says, no, listen, you haven't paid us enough. Or better yet, we have a process that takes a century. Or we want you to be a rabbi by the time you convert. Those people are also perverting judgment. Or like this Rasha Merusha that took a woman who doesn't want to be Jewish. Doesn't want to be Jewish. She outright told her husband that she divorced because she was cheating on him with somebody else. She told him, I don't want to be Jewish. But the Beit Din converted her anyway. Why? Because she was cheating on him with a Jew that was on the board of directors of the Beit Din. Or the Beit Knesset connected to the Beit Din. That's perverting judgment. Or all of these different keilot that have signs on their doors. We don't accept converts. You're not counted part of a minyan. You're not going to be accepted in our schools. That's not a good thing, Rabotai. Why? Parashat Kitavot says you're cursed for such a thing. Maybe not the regular people who don't know Aleph Bet even, don't know nothing. They simply follow the leaders. They think it's a mitzvah because they're keeping their tradition. Fine. But the leaders out there that are still enforcing this law and putting these signs up, for sure are cursed. Why? You know better. You know that the Torah has 36 different places that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives special protection to the converts. And the Midrash says that there's an additional 10 places. Meaning 46 different commandments are broken when you go against righteous converts. 46 different commandments are going. You're embarrassing them. You're not telling them to get out of here. Don't come here. You're insulting the converts. Hashem yishmor v'yatzi, what's going to happen to you and your kids. Why would you do such a thing? Don't you understand that even aside from all the convert rules that you're embarrassing another Jew in public? And David HaMelech says someone that you embarrass another Jew in public, you have no share of the world to come. You're doing it on a regular basis, lechatchila, as if it's a good thing. Why? Okay, you don't want to convert people within your keilah, no problem. It's not a good idea, but you have a tradition, you have a takana, no problem. But if he converted or she converted somewhere else at a recognized Beit Din, they're kosher people, they have kisui rosh, they're religious, they keep everything. They want to just stop by your Beit Knesset and pray. They want to go to the school, to yeshiva. They're Jewish, you're Jewish. And you reject him because of that, you think you can have olam haba for causing them such damage? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says he takes special revenge against such people. Why? That's his kids. But what happens is you have the extremes. You have some people that are anti-converts, and you have people that want to convert people like Christianity. They send them to some beach, and they let them dip with their clothes on. Yeah, go jump in the ocean over there. Yeah, and you see the videos. Hashem yishmor v'yatzi. It's 100% Christianity. Yeah, go in the ocean. Yeah, how do you feel? Nothing. What do you mean how he feels? He's on a beach. What do you mean how he feels? He's on a beach. There's 50 other people there. Only strange thing is that he still has his clothes on. That's the only thing. Because normally he would just not have his clothes on the beach. What do you mean how he feels? You think that makes him Jewish, dipping him like a goy? What happened? That's the problem. Those types of things and those types of things are not what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Why? Because conversion, Rabotai Karim, is a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not me, not you, not the other rabbi, not the Beit Din. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to convert, guess what? No power in the world is going to stop it. And if HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want you to convert, no power in the world can make it happen. Why? You can go and dip with this guy. You can go live in the ocean like a fish if you want. You could put payas in 4 different places and tefillin in 8 different places. You could wear 30 tzitziot like some tzaddikim. You could pretend to do whatever you want. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, on the day of conversion, nothing happened to you. You go up to Shamayim, your judgment is as a goy. Why? The gift is from him. Who does he decide to give the gift to? If he knows that you are genuinely accepting the mitzvot, all of them, on a day of conversion. But if on a day of conversion, you don't even know You don't even know anything about Judaism. All you know is that the guy that told you about it hates everybody. He hates all of the Rabbanut. Why? Because he's a convert, and he didn't get treated well, and therefore he simply just hates everyone. And he makes fun of everyone. And he has all types of laws that he creates out of his thin head. And he makes fun of Chazal. And he helps you make fun of Chazal. And so on and so forth. You think that's going to help you in life? Oh, no, I'm a Jew now. I live in Montana. Okay, where's your Beit Knesset? Oh, it's in Texas. That's not what a Jew is. And for anybody that went through those conversions, you have to understand. You could pretend all you want. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't pretend. He doesn't pretend. What ends up happening a lot of times, people wake up and they realize they made a mistake, but it's usually after damage was already done. Somebody converts to one of these fake Batei Din, whether it's by this one or that one. I don't even want to say names anymore. I don't want to advertise these people anymore. Enough of it already. You guys already know the names. And if you don't know, it's good you don't know. You go to one of these fake Batei Din. One day your kid wants to get married. One day you want to make aliyah. The rabbi, his job is to what? To verify that you're Jewish. That's the rabbi's job. That's the other family's job. Oh, your son wants to get married. Okay, he wants to marry our daughter. Yeah, your son went to yeshiva. Looks like a good kid. We like him. Yeah. You guys are converts? Can we see a rabbi? Not us. A rabbi is asking to see the conversion paper. You give him a conversion paper. Who is this? Who is this guy? He's the rabbi. Yeah, but who's the Beit Din? Oh, he is. Who knows him? Oh, you can go to such and such website. The Rabbanut knows him? No. And anything they know about him, they don't like. Oh, okay, well, sorry, but the shidduch is off. Why? You're not Jewish. Your son's not Jewish. Guess what? Your son's going to hate you for the rest of your life. Your daughter's going to hate you for the rest of your life. Why? They lived a life. They thought they're Jewish. For all intents and purposes, halachically, they could be Jewish, but it's not recognized. It's not recognized by the Rabbanut, and for society at large, that means it's not valid. And guess what? Your kid grows up, wants to get married, and he can't get married. Why? He has to go convert first. If they still want him, b'chlal. If he doesn't rebel altogether and say, you know what, if they don't think I'm a Jew, I'll just act like a non-Jew anyway. And that happens. Or a person goes the easy route and goes to conservative or reform. They're in a class of conversion, Tim, Mustafa, the dog, the cat, the people that are not even in the world anywhere. Everybody's converting in the same class. The rabbi is really a rabbanit that's not Jewish themselves. The rabbi is also converting. And they wake up one day, listen, I want to keep Shabbat, but the rabbi told me that I need to go learn at his house on Shabbat. It's just that I have to drive to his house 30 miles on Shabbat. And he said, it's okay, it's mitzvah. If it's not an Orthodox conversion by a recognized Beit Din, Rabotai, you're simply asking for trouble. That's simply what it is. Yes, there are some Batei Din that are kosher, that are good, that are not recognized by the Rabbanut for different reasons. Either they, are new, or they didn't pay off somebody, or whatever it is. And they may very well be kosher. But I'm telling you, using that, you have to take into account that you may have issues. If you ever want to make aliyah, that's number one. Number two, if you have young kids that want to get married one day, if that rabbi is not well known enough, it could be an issue. Not necessarily a 100% issue. But if it's somebody that the world already knows has done already 1,000 fake conversions that no one recognizes practically, it might as well be reform. It might as well be anything else. And that's the problem. People are so, focused on the destination, they forget about the journey. I always tell you guys, don't focus on the destination. Focus on the journey. Why? Because the journey continues even once you get to the destination. The things you do as a convert, preparing for conversion, are going to be the same things you do as a Jew. What do you care when you convert or not? Oh, what if Mashiach comes? Don't worry, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes that into account. Oh, what about if I die? Don't worry, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes that into account also. Everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes into account. And if you don't believe that, you shouldn't convert. But of course, people are simply falling for the trap day after day. Why? Because the world is simply full of fools, full of ignorant people that don't know, and they rely on opinions without double checking, and they don't value Chazal, they don't value our sages, they don't value our Torah. They think that they could translate the Torah themselves. They think that because they just started learning Torah a year or 2 or 3 years ago, after they got rid of their other garbage, whether it be the New Testament or Quran or whatever else, they think they could start becoming commentaries like Rashi. They could disagree with the Rambam. They think that it's a free-for-all. People like that, Rabotai, the Gemara says, such converts are like a skin disease for Am Yisrael. Why? They're going to be full of problems. Full of problems. Good converts, Rabotai, bad converts, the Midrash says, are compared to Avraham Avinu. Bad converts are compared to a chamor, a donkey. Good converts are compared to Avraham Avinu. And this is what's happening in the world today, where you have a lot of politics going into the conversion world, a lot of lies, a lot of deception. But unfortunately, people are falling for it. People are falling for it. People fail to understand that your conversion is not decided by the Rabbanut. It's not decided by your sponsoring rabbi. It's not decided by anybody. It's decided by a Kadosh Baruch Hu himself, based on your actions. If you're looking just to convert, just to have a piece of paper, that's exactly what a Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to give it to you. He maybe even email it to you so you can do it online, because he doesn't want you to become one of these people. He's going to send you something in a paper, just leave me alone. Go, start pretending. You want to pretend? Go pretend. I'll send you a paper. You could convert online now. But if you want to be a real convert, you want to be a real Jew, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send you all the necessary tools, along with the tests, to see if you really want it. To see if you really want it. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it's difficult. But the reality is it's better for you to overcome the test as a person that's in the process of conversion versus failure as a Jew. And this is one of the things that requires a person to work on their character traits. Because all of the curses that are in the Torah, in last week's parasha, they're not for the tzaddikim. They're for the reshaim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that there's going to be diseases that there's no cure. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says there's going to be all types of diseases that just anyone that's ever been sick with real pain in their life just reads this parasha, you start tearing. You start tearing because you know what pain feels like. If you're not scared when you read this parasha, that's either because you're not reading it, you're just skimming through it, or because you've never experienced pain in your life. But if you've experienced pain in your life, you read this parasha, you start shivering because you know what pain feels like. That's one of the biggest problems in today's world of medicine. You cannot see pain. So when you go to a doctor and you tell him, listen, I'm in pain, doctor doesn't know. Like, where? Here. And you're like, oh, it looks fine. Let's do some tests. Blood test, this test, cholesterol test, heart test, eye test, foot test, your brother's test, your sister's test, your dog's test. Everything looks good. You look perfectly healthy. I think it's in your head. They tell you, I think the pain is in your head. And you want to kick the guy in the head because you feel the pain and it's very much real to you. But you can't see pain. This week's parasha, you could see the pain. You could see the pain. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us details. He says that if we do not do what He says, He'll bring the world, He'll bring our world, Hashem Yishmo v'Yatzil, to such a level of poverty that the righteous among us, the righteous women that bear their kids, carry their kids for 9 months in their body, raise their kids, give everything to those kids, feed them, bathe them, play with them, talk to them, cry with them. They're going to eat them from starvation. Now for anyone that thinks, yeah, but this is an exaggeration, it's not an exaggeration. It happened several times in history. It happened at both Batei Mikdash and even happened in the Holocaust. That's not a reward. That's a punishment. And it happened. And it's mentioned in the Torah several times. And that's not even Gehenom. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says these things, he's very much serious. So to play with his Torah like it's some alphabet book, or some fiction book, or non-fiction book, or whatever it is, it's simply playing with fire of fires. You have to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not making any suggestions. He's telling us obligations, and whether we understand them or we don't understand them. The Gemara in Masechet Yoma, page 67b, says, Tanu Rabbanan, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says in Leviticus 18:4, Et mishpatai ta'asu. The Torah states, you shall fulfill my judgments. And this refers to matters that even had they not been written in the Torah, logic would have dictated that they were written. Meaning, these specific things that Hashem calls mishpatai, judgments, even if they weren't written in the Torah, we'd still be expected to follow them and understand that they are forbidden. And ve'eluen avodat kochavim, gilui arayot, v'shfichut damim. The prohibitions of idolatry, the prohibition of adultery, and all types of immorality crimes, whether it be wasting seed, or it be incest, and so on and so forth, and the prohibition of murder. And also, the gezel u'birkat Hashem, robbery, meaning stealing from people, dishonest business, things of that nature, and also desecrating Hashem's name. All of those things do not need the Torah to teach you that they're forbidden, but nonetheless, they are mentioned in the Torah. Then the Gemara continues, V'chukotai tishmeru. And the verse continues, and you shall observe my statutes. Dvarim sha'satan mashiv aleim. This refers to the matters that the Satan is challenging. Meaning that the Satan gives you ideas in your head that, nah, come on, you don't need to follow this. You don't need to follow this. This is not really in the Torah, because, listen, it can't be true. It can't be true. It can't be true that I'm 25 years old and I'm not married and Hashem expects me to not waste seed. I mean, my body does it. What? I see a girl. What? What do you want? You created me that way. If you don't want me to waste seeds, don't let it work until I get married. Right? The Satan puts it in your head. Listen, it's only natural. Listen, he left his briefcase full of money. It's not my fault he left the briefcase full of money. If Hashem didn't want me to take this money, then he wouldn't give it to me. The bank sent me the money by accident. It's not to me. It's just the same name, but I know it's not my money. And I know it's a Jew that's next door to me, just happens to be the same name, but it's me. If Hashem didn't want me to have it, no, come on. Satan challenges a person and tells them that, no, this can't be mitzvah. This is too much. Which one of these? Achilat chazir, levishat shatnez, the eating of pork, wearing shatnez, chalitza yevama, which is the when a person dies and doesn't have any children, he's married but doesn't have any children, the Torah requires such a person to have his brother is supposed to marry his wife, his widow, and but if she, this is referred to as a mitzvah of yibum, but if he doesn't want to marry her, then there's a whole process called chalitza. Well, she takes the shoe, she spits on him. Long story short, that this mitzvah, for all intents and purposes, for an average person in 2020, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Why? I don't want to marry her. What? What's the problem with that? I don't want to marry my brother's sister. Why is that a problem? It's not my fault he died, with no kids. Why do I have to marry her? Right? Pork. Why? Why not? It's a perfectly good animal. Perfectly good animal, easy to hunt, easy to eat, fills you up. What's the problem? Some people even say it's delicious. Shatnez? No, come on, Rabbi. I have to check my pants, got to check my shirt, got to check this, got to check that. Doesn't make any sense. That's what the Satan says. Doesn't make any sense. Taharat HaMetzorah, purifying of the Metzorah. Somebody has tzarat. V'sa'ir HaMishtaleach, and the service of the he-goat that's sent away to Azazel. This is at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, also the time of Yavne, the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. We had a mitzvah during Yom Kippur. There were two seirim, two sheeps. One of them would go as a korban to Hashem, and one of them would be taken on a nice long journey of 10 mil, or something like 10 miles, a little more than that. Nice long journey, and then thrown off the cliff. No parachute. Thrown off the cliff to die. That goes to Azazel. That goes to the Satan. It's a mitzvah. Satan is going to tell you, it doesn't make any sense. It's vicious for the animal. What do the sheep really do? The poor guy had a family. He maybe wanted to go on vacation. He was just about to retire. What's wrong with it? Why are you throwing the poor animal? Isn't there some type of mitzvah? Tzar ba'al chaim. Don't hurt animals. Why are you taking this poor animal? Okay, whatever. It's a korban for Hashem. Fine. But you're giving something to the Satan? On Yom Kippur? What are you guys, Satanists? That's what the Satan will tell you. What are you guys, Satanists? You believe in me? You give me a korban? So some mitzvot don't make sense. Shatnez makes sense to you? No. Not eating pork makes sense to you? No. Chalitza, Yevama, Metzorah, all these things make sense to you? No, you're going to say these are empty acts, the Gemara says. Meaning they're purposeless. Talmud lomar, ani Hashem. Therefore the Torah says, Hashem says after these rules, I am God. Meaning, I am the God that decreed these, and you do not have any permission to ponder or question my mitzvot. Not just these 5 that I mentioned, any of them. It doesn't matter if you understand them. It doesn't matter if you like them. It doesn't matter if your rabbi suggested them. It doesn't make a difference. I am God, he says, and these are my rules. You live in my world. I don't live in your world. You will be judged in accordance to my rules. Not I will be judged in accordance to your rules. Now all of us are going less than 2 weeks, Judgment Day. And shortly after, we have Yom Kippur. We're all supposed to show up at Yom Kippur tzaddikim. Now, if a person didn't arrive at Yom Kippur with at the very least an understanding that we're not allowed to question Hashem's mitzvot. We're not allowed to simply decide what I'm going to keep, what I'm not going to keep. We simply do our best at everything. I fail, I'll try again. I fail, I'll try again. And when a person does not show up to Yom Kippur with such a mentality that I'm simply going to do my best, and I'm not allowed to question Hashem, I'm simply going to do what He says, and little by little, learn about who, what, when, and how. If a person doesn't arrive with such a mentality, you're showing up to the game without equipment. You're showing up to work without your tools. Why? It's the minimum requirement of a Jew. If you showed up on your day of conversion without a basic understanding of what Shabbat is, without a basic understanding of who the sages are, without a basic understanding of what modesty is, what kashrut is, what the value of a Jewish community is and a Jewish education is, why you need to do all of these mitzvot. What is a Jewish life supposed to be? What is a rabbi? If you don't have a basic understanding of all of these things, you're showing up naked. Naked of the ideology that is a basic requirement of a Jew. Unfortunately today, there are many Jews that are walking around like this, feeling like they're fully clothed. Feeling like they have everything that they need because they've decided what the law is. And on this, Rabotai, is what the Chazon Ish, alav hashalom, discusses in his 12th section in the first chapter of Emunah and Bitachon. And he says, a thin line, kav dak, משתרע בין החוכמה והסכלות, ולא ייתן לאדם להיכנס להיכל החוכמה, אך אין העדינות, ועליזת הנשמה מוחקת את קו החוצץ כליל ומסילת החוכמה לפניו למישור. אבל האדם הנמשל להעיר פרא, אשר אסור בזיקי התאווה כיום היוולדו. Chazoni says there's a thin line between wisdom and foolishness. Foolishness being a lack of common sense, lack of good sense, lack of an understanding of basic things that are required of every human being, Jew or Gentile. And politically incorrect as it could be, this is how the Chazon Ish starts. He says, oh, you think you're smart? Okay, you should know, as smart as you think you are, the difference between your wisdom and complete stupidity is very small. The thin line separating it. Yeah, but I studied. No problem. I'm not saying you're stupid. No. I'm just saying the difference between where you're at, according to, you're saying you know what you're doing, and according to stupidity, even by your own opinion, is very small. Small line between them. Why? Says the thin line between wisdom and folly, and will not allow a man to enter the portals of wisdom. This thin line, although it's thin, it's such a strong line that if it's not addressed the right way, a person will never be able to cross it and arrive at the side of wisdom from his current status of foolishness. Like, it's not a thin line in order to tell you, oh, it's easy to cross it. No, opposite. It's a thin line that if you do not acknowledge and address it carefully, you could simply live your life on the side of foolishness 70 years without even realizing it. Thinking, actually, you are on the side of wisdom. He continues in saying, gentleness of the eye, meaning a refinement of the eye, and happiness of the soul erase this line completely. And the path of wisdom stretches ahead smoothly. What's the cure to this issue? How do you get rid of this line? Refining your character traits. Without refining your character traits to become a more gentle person, and now so attacking, horrible, judgmental, and so on and so forth, and without working on your happiness. Happiness does not mean that you walk around with a smile ear to ear all the time. Happiness doesn't mean you make jokes of everything. Happiness is a spiritual status of a person that just is. He wakes up happy, he goes to sleep happy, even if there's problems everywhere in between. Now, if a person has this refinement of the eye and this happiness of the soul, that erases the line completely. Meaning, you are now smoothly going to acquire higher levels of wisdom. Now, in so many words, without gentleness in midot, in character traits, without refining our character traits, without becoming more gracious to people, more humble, more generous, more sincere, honest, welcoming, and all of the positive character traits of a person, without this type of character that is looking to help the world without expecting anything in return. If it's given, great. If not, no big deal. Looking to improve their marriage even when it's already good. Looking to do more for your spouse without asking, what are they going to do for you? Looking to give your kids everything you possibly can in order to give them a better life without thinking about, oh, how much is this going to cost, how much is that going to cost, but simply doing your best. Being honest in business no matter what the profit line is going to be. You're not looking at honesty as something that's a variable. I'm going to be honest so long as I'm profitable. But if I'm not profitable, then I'll have to be dishonest. No such thing exists in your head. And so on and so forth. Without these types of gentleness in your midot to soften you and make you less of a hazard for society, and without acquiring this happiness of the soul, which obviously is acquired only through Kedusha, only through Torah itself, a person simply cannot acquire wisdom. That's what the Chazon Ish is saying in opening remarks in this particular part. It doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter how many shiurim you attend. It doesn't matter what school you've attended. None of that matters. Because a person who doesn't have good midot and having a gentle character is not going to be able to control his desires. And such a person is not going to know how to tell their body no. Because your body is going to have needs. You're going to see a burger. You're going to see a woman. You're going to see money. You're going to see this. You're going to see different things. And if you haven't refined your character traits to simply take control of yourself, you're not going to be able to acquire wisdom. Why? You are operating more on instinct than you are on wisdom. So now, if a person goes to school and finishes college and gets his bachelor's, and then he goes to grad school and he gets his master's, and he continues with school and he gets his PhD, and he continues and he gets his doctorate, and he continues and he becomes not just a doctor, but the head of a division of doctors, the head professor. He is the one who teaches other doctors. He is the master of a group of doctors in a field. Now, such a person, the world would agree this person has intellect. He's acquired intellect. He read a lot of books. He passed a lot of tests. He has a certain amount of experience. But when it comes to wisdom, that's only judged based on his character traits. Meaning, if that person, that doctor of doctors, the doctor that has passed all of these classes and got his masters and bachelors and PhDs and all of this stuff, and is now a well-established expert in his field, if that person, when he walks and he sees a woman and he turns around and follows her as if he's a sensor of laser or something like that, and regardless of whether her IQ is 1 or 1,000, guess what? He has now become lesser than the one. All of that medicine, all of that experience, all of that is worth 0. Why? Because all of that you've learned did not change you as a person. You remain the same piece of flesh, the same animal that you started in this world as. If every single time you have somebody inviting you to a chatuna, to a bat mitzvah, to some type of simcha, you already get anxious because you're nervous about what am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? And your husband says, honey, you have a whole slew of dresses. No, I can't. They already saw me in that dress. No, this is a new one. No, I wore that one 8 years ago. Don't you remember? No, okay, yeah, I remember. What about this one? No, that one I wore 6 weeks ago. No, that one I wore 9 years ago. No. Why, another dress? Yeah, another dress. You have a very serious problem. Why? You worry too much about your desires, about people's opinions of you, about people's, understanding of your value and their determination of your value based on a dress, based on your hair, based on your shoes, not based on your wisdom and your actual real value. You have completely summed up your value based on how fancy your dress is. And that's why the whole year you wear a kisui rosh like a tzadikah, but when it comes to an event, it comes to a simcha, all of a sudden the wig that's longer than the exile comes out of the closet. Honey, where's your kisui rosh? I have it. What do you mean you have it? Where? I don't see it. No, this is it. That's your hair. No, it's not my hair. It's the one from India. I mean, it's not from India. It's the one from Belgium. It's the one from England. It's that one. Yeah, it's from Brazil, and the mafia over there. That's real. That's not your hair. No, honey, look, it's moving. Oh, okay. How come you're wearing that? Where's the kisui rosh? I see you all year round. No, come on. How could I show up to a simcha with the shmata on my head? Why? Sarah Imenu had a shmata on her head. Chana had a shmata on her head. And they didn't call it a shmata. They called kisui rosh. They called a crown of a tzadikah. Why are you embarrassed to look like Sarah Imenu? That's why you call Sarah Imenu the most beautiful woman in history. Woman that wore a shmata on her head, not a crown. You're better than her. All year round, kisui rosh, but in the simcha, you have what happened? Oh, because you care about what everybody else says. So that's your value. Ish lefi ma'alalo. A person is valued based on what he praises. You are telling people your whole value is the way you look. So don't complain if they judge you based on the way you look. Don't complain that they turn you into a piece of meat, because that's what you made yourself into. If a person acquires all the knowledge in the world in secular wisdom, and it does not, even in the Torah world, but it does not change their character traits, they have not acquired wisdom. Why? Because the Chazon Ish, who is a Gaon is an understatement. Without ever attending medical school, he would teach surgeons, brain surgeons, how to operate on their brain. How to operate on brains. Till this day, people learn some of his writings to know how to do brain surgery. He says this wisdom, it's not based on the books. It's based on character traits. If you have not softened your character traits, you've not refined your character traits, you've not attained happiness of the soul, you have not attained wisdom. But a man is likened to a wild beast, the Chazon Ish says, and remains chained by his desires as he was on the day of his birth. He continues seeking sweetness and pleasure and is constantly angered and full of false pride. Here the Chazon Ish, in essence, says everything we've said in the last hour and a half in a single sentence. Says, you know why you haven't acquired wisdom? Because you're still the same beast you were born. When you were born, all you wanted was something based on your physical needs. You wanted to eat, you wanted to relieve yourself, you wanted to eat, you wanted to relieve yourself, sleep in between. As you got older, you asked for a few other physical needs. Pretty much it. The difference between you and a sheep or a calf or or some other animal, nothing really. They walk on 4, you walk on 2, sometimes 4. Not much of a difference. Some say you're cuter, some say the puppy's cuter. It's debatable. Says that's what a man is likened to. A wild beast. But he's not supposed to be. But he keeps himself chained. Chained to this wild beast status because his desires are controlling him. Because he's constantly looking for pleasure. He's constantly looking for a good time. So, is shiur tonight? Yeah. Is there going to be food? Maybe yes, maybe no. You're coming for the food, you're coming for the shiur. There's food sometimes, yeah, no problem. But the question is, why are you coming? Are you coming for the food or are you coming for the shiur? If you're coming for the food, there's probably better food at your house. If you come for the shiur, okay, the food is fine, no problem. No problem. But when a person is constantly looking for pleasure, that's what makes them decide everything in their life. Everything in their life. And then he says, this person is constantly angered and full of false pride. Why is such a person that's desire-based? What's the connection between wanting good stuff, wanting a good time, and constantly being angry and being full of false pride? What's the connection? If a person is only looking to have a good time, is only looking to fulfill their desires, that means that their life in total, from the minute that they're born until they leave this world, if they do not do tshuva for this, their entire life, without a moment spared, will be full of disappointment. Why? There will never be enough desire to satiate you. Never. Why? You're going to say, listen, my dream, I want to go to this concert of such and such artist. And I know this firsthand, I've seen this in my own eyes. There was this young man wanted to go to a concert of some artist that he liked. And this artist, I don't know, is one of these people, every ticket is $1 zillion. Long story short, one of his family members bought him front row tickets. Front row tickets, there's an arm and a leg, front row tickets to go see this artist. Wow, amazing, great, yeah, you coming, I'm gonna go, yeah, all the excitement in the world, wow, yeah, you're fine, yeah, you're going, yeah. Okay, guess what? They show up to the art. Wow. That's it? That's it? What do you mean that's it? It's a 2-hour show. What do you want it to be for a year? You paid him for a couple hours. You didn't pay him for his life. What, that's it? That's it? It's over? That's it? My whole life I waited for this? That's just 2 hours? When's the next one? I don't know, 5 years from now. When we get the money back, finally, to pay for another ticket. Hopefully, you don't want to go again. And that's what happens. When a person's life is driven by their desires, they're going to constantly be angry, constantly be disappointed. The car they get, one day it's the best, shortly later it's not good enough. Why? A new model came out. Computer they like, they finally get it, a week later it becomes the same gurta, the same junk it was as the previous machine. They see no difference. The shoes they like, they finally get them. After the first stain becomes a permanent mark, it's just another shoe. The wife they get. They dream about her. They love her. A few weeks after marriage, she's just another girl. The husband she gets. Mom, I've been dreaming to be married and go down the aisle and everyone's looking at me in my dress, and like every girl dreams about the day that she's going to get married and with the white dress, okay, a day after marriage, okay, so wait, you're staying? Yeah, we got married yesterday. Oh, so that wasn't like my dream. My dream was over at some point. Like, you're staying though? Constant disappointed. Why? When your whole life is based on desires, at some point that desire will no longer be a desire, but you still have it. Meaning, you've acquired this thing and you finally realize it's not all that. It's not as good as it was in your imagination. So your whole life is full of frustration of the stuff that you got that wasn't as good as you thought it was, and the stuff that you don't have and you can't get. Constantly frustrated, constantly angry. Why does he have it? How come I don't have it? How come God gives it to him and not me? I keep Shabbos. I keep this. I should be getting much more than him. I should get a car. Why does he have a car? He's a nothing. I learned Daf Yomi. He learned nothing. Angry at the world for no reason except the fact that, what does Zohar say? False pride. He's full or she's full of false pride. When your whole life is based on desires, once in a while, Hashem gives you stuff. Okay, what do you want? A car? Here you go, kid. What do you want? Wife? Here you go, kid. What do you want? Some food? Here you go. Here you go. Oh, he gives it to you. So what do you think? You got some of this stuff. So you think, yeah, so see, God's blessing me. I am all that. You're not. You got some blessings because you're still God's son or God's daughter. So he gave you some stuff to feed you so you can eat and live and hopefully do tshuva. But instead of saying thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what are you thinking? You're thinking you deserve it. You've become self-righteous. You've become a person that thinks that everything that you got, you deserve it. In reality, you have more coming to you because you keep this and you do this, and I'm so generous and I'm so nice. And look, I walked that guy across the street. He was blind. Okay, what do you want? Like a special Gan Eden for walking him 8 feet? Look, I gave that guy, a homeless guy, I gave him some money. You gave him 40 cents, buddy. His life's not going to change. That was change that you had in your pocket you forgot about because you haven't washed your pants. What are you, like what? But in the person that their whole life is desire-based, they don't think about how they impact the world. They think about how the world impacts them because they're entitled. They feel entitled. They feel the world owes them something, which is the current generation we've been living in. Everyone feels like they're owed something. They get a gift, that's it. They get a job, that's it. Everything is, that's it. That's all. That's all you got. You have another one. You have another. That's it. That's the problem. And then the Chazon Ish continues, even if he is granted the talent for wisdom as part of his soul, and even if a double portion of understanding has been delegated to him, he cannot prosper in his studies because of his bad character traits. The Chazon Ish says something horrendous. Even if a person is gifted the brain of Rav Ovadia, he's gifted the tools to build a spiritual spaceship that could cross the universe in 5 seconds. He has something, she has something that is extraordinary. Something that people would die for. He has a memory that he remembers everything from the time he was 3 years old. He has the ability to read faster than the average person by 2, 3, 4x. He has certain talents that HaKadosh Baruch Hu instilled in him. Brain capacity that's able to analyze a Gemara like it's nothing, like it's a regular menu for a restaurant. And he can read it, and he can breeze through it. Shas, no problem. Bavli, Yerushalmi, the Sifri, the Tosfot, everything. The Shulchan Aruch, the Poskim, everything. Reads, everything. He can read all of it. Chazon Ish says, even if he does all of this, he's still never going to succeed. Meaning, he's still never going to succeed in acquiring real wisdom. What do you mean? But he read all these books and more. Bupkis. Yeah, but he read all of them. Okay, so he read all of them. There's websites that have HebrewBooks.com. All those people, they read books too. Why? Wisdom is acquired, but not simply by reading the books. If a person has bad character traits, Chazon Ish says, that will be simply like a wall separating him from wisdom. But he doesn't say that he's not going to acquire wisdom. Remember the beginning. He says the line between foolishness and wisdom is very thin. Meaning, if you do not have wisdom, if you have not put yourself standing firm on the wisdom side, you're on the foolish side. Like, you think you have a psak halacha. In Shema, you say, what, stupid. This guy actually thinks that's halacha. Look, he's so confident about it, too. He went like this when he said it. Like he was loud about it and everything. He told it to all of his friends. He had a whole shiur, 500 people. He was saying it with zealousness and everything. Just idiot. Okay, what we're going to do? I'm going to come. Moshe, bring our own. We got to take care of it. What are we going to do with this guy? What are we going to do with this guy? Moshe comes and says, oh man, this guy again. No, Hashem, we can't do this. We can't handle it. Hashem, you got to get involved. You got to do something at Kadosh Baruch Hu. We can't. This guy keeps coming out with new rules every week. Every shiur, every this, every YouTube video. Well, come on, Hashem. No, come on, please. He's embarrassing us. Hashem, he's like my grandson. Please. A closed heart and a closed mind shut the doors of wisdom to him and lock the gates of understanding. When a person does not open up their heart to HaKadosh Baruch Hu completely, in order to humble themselves, in order to understand their insignificance, in order to soften their character, in order to make themselves a servant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whether it's a he or a she, meaning you being a he or a she. If a person does not soften their character traits, they themselves are locking themselves in the section of foolishness. The secret of wisdom lies in the fine points, in delicate sensibilities that cannot be sensed by an ordinary eye. Only a refined eye, behind which there is a refined heart, can understand these sophisticated issues. The wise man prepares conduits in his heart and soul for the wisdom bestowed upon him, and through them wisdom flows to his heart and soul, a joyous soul and happiness of spirit, a thirst for wisdom and hunger for understanding are what enables this flow to proceed. All of these are the result of the one good character trait which creates the conduits and keeps them in existence. Here the Chazon Ish simply tells us that after you've understood clearly that it is your own character traits that are going to determine whether you're going to arrive at wisdom or not, or whether you'll stay at foolishness or not. Whether halacha is going to be like you, or halacha is going to be far away from you. Now that you understand that point, you have to understand that it is not the obvious points that determine whether you're a tzaddik or a rasha, but rather the fine points, the small details that you don't think matters. For example, over 4,000 years ago, there was a young girl. Some say she was 3, others say she was 6, who had a test that, with all due respect to everyone here, none of us would pass. She was at a well getting some water. And the Torah says, miraculously, instead of her taking the bucket, putting it all the way down the well, and then bringing it back up with the water, which is in itself a difficult thing for anybody, miraculously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the water of the well rise up to her, fill up her bucket, and she could just take it and walk away. Suddenly, someone shows up by the name of Eliezer, and he has 10 camels and 10 slaves on them, strong men. And he says to her, "What's your name?" Rivka. He didn't ask her name, I'm just telling you for the story. "Listen, Rivka, can you give me a little bit of water?" A little bit. Now if I was Rivka, I'd give him a can of Coke. Here you go. What do you ask for? He asked for a little water. I'm going to give him a little bit of water. Maybe I'll give him a Coca-Cola. Just give him some taste. That's what he asked for, right? That's why I'm not Rivka. Rivka says, I'm not only going to give you water, I'm going to give it to you and to all your camels and to everybody. Now, a camel drinks a lot. Why? He doesn't drink for a century and finally wants to drink. So imagine how much he has to drink. Now, you can say, listen, if I was Rivka, I would do the same thing. Why? There was no, it was easy. I went to the well. The water came to me. So all I got to do is just take it. Here you go, like a vending machine. Here you go, without any money. Vending machine. The water comes up, I put it in the water. Here you go. Vending machine with no money. Right? But here's the problem. The Pasuk says that before he came, she was not taking the water out. Meaning the water was coming up to her. But then as soon as she committed to this, saying she's going to give him water for him and the camels, suddenly she had to pull the water out. Like everybody else, no miracles. No miracles now. Buckets and buckets of water. Now, why no miracles? Why is it such a big test? First and foremost, if Rivka lived a whole life, a whole 3 or 6 years, and every day she worked hard, and every day there was guests, and she would give the guests whatever they needed, and her parents asked her for stuff, she would do what the parents said. She did everything good. But on that one day that Eliezer came to look for a wife for Yitzchak, she said, "No, I'm tired. Maybe you get down the street. Or maybe you get it yourself. Here you go, here's the well. What do you want? You want a drink? Here you go. Here's the well right here. Enjoy. It's on you." So a lot of people say. Right? Listen, I'm new in the area. You know where I get something to eat? Yeah, I think if you look at it on Google, you probably find something. Just type in kosher. Listen, I'm new here. I'm looking for a job. You know anybody that's hiring? Yeah, you could probably go on LinkedIn or something. Look for a job. Just type in Florida, and then it just says jobs. And I'm sure you can find something. That's what people do. Listen, I'm trying to get to the store. I just don't know how to get around here. You know anybody give me a ride? Yeah, call Uber. Call Uber. You want to call? Here you go. There's the number. Uber it's not even a number. You can download it. Go to the App Store. You can download Uber, and you can put your credit card in there. There you go. It's on you. That's the type of favors people do today. Somebody asks you for something. You say, yeah, here you go. Where do you want to go? There. Oh, it's there. Like, that's it. Rivka had such a test. Eliezer says, I need some water. She could have said, it's right here, like everybody else today. But guess what? She wouldn't be Rivka. Why? If she did that, she would have failed the test, and she wouldn't be our mother. She would just be some girl you never heard of that existed in the world. But on that day, it's hot. She's young. The crowd is big. And on top of it, she has all the excuses in the world not to do it. It's 10 camels. What, one person? Let me at least get some help. Bring your slaves. Aren't you paying them anyway? Get them to do it. Get 10 of them. Well, I have to feed them too. I have to give them drinks too. Get them to do it. If she did any of that, she wouldn't be Rivka. And then she could say, wait a minute, but at least Hashem, help me. Help me do this chesed. Before, when I was by myself, you made miracles for me. Now that I need to do chesed, you're not even helping me. I want to do mitzvah. Hashem, why don't you help me out? I want to give tzedakah. How come you're not giving me more money? I want to get married. How come you're not giving me a shidduch overnight? I want to learn Torah. How come you don't make me remember everything overnight? Just like I read it one time and that's it. Or just give me all the chidushim in my head. How come you're not helping me? Kadosh Baruch Hu is teaching us a very valuable lesson. Rivka became Rivka because she had a very good understanding of what's required of you every single day, with or without miracles. And that is 110%. Every day to do your very best. When you wake up in the morning and you're going to go pray, make that the best prayer you ever had. Don't wait for Yom Kippur to make it your best prayer. When you're going to put on your tefillin, make that tefillin that you have, the one you have kavanah. Don't make tomorrow on a holiday or when I'm at Bet Knesset. No, that one. That one. Why? Maybe today is the day you're going to be reading the Torah yourself. Maybe today is the day. Rivka had a clear understanding. Today is the day and every day is the day. I have an opportunity to do chesed. It's really hard. There's 10 camels, a bunch of lazy slaves, a huge request, and no miracles. Situation horrible. Exactly. Exactly what a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. Exactly what a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. She passed the test with flying colors because she understood her position in the world, understood her obligation in the world, because her character traits were already softened enough, were already pure enough that she made her body a vessel for wisdom instantly when it arrived. Which is what the Chazon Ish is saying. It's like, yes, this wisdom can be given, it's there, it's in the world. But if there are bad character traits, those bad character traits are like clogging the veins. They're clogging the neshama. It's not allowing your body to be a vessel for this purity, for this holiness. Yes, it exists. Yes, you listened to the shiur, but you didn't absorb anything. You sat here for 3 hours, nothing changed. Hey, Rabbi, I just finished the Pirkei Avot series. Okay, what changed? What, something was supposed to happen? A lot. Either you failed or I failed, but either way, both of us are miserable for it. If you haven't changed a little bit, after every shiur, something happened that wasn't supposed to. Why? The Torah is supposed to change you. Supposed to improve you, soften you, make you better. And Chazon Ish says, if the Torah is good, the wisdom is true and it's still not being absorbed by you, it's only because you are not making yourself a vessel. Because your character traits, your flaws in your character traits are simply not allowing yourself to absorb the truth as it is. You're constantly rejecting it, questioning it, going against it, trying to figure out a better way, maybe tomorrow, maybe yesterday, maybe next week, maybe for somebody else, maybe it's cheaper, maybe it's more expensive. There's a constant maybe, just not today. Now, if a person does allow their body to become a vessel for holiness, and allows their heart and soul to become a vessel that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can give him all of the wisdom that he wants to give him or her, this in itself will make the person achieve the second purpose, which is the happiness of the soul. Now, when a person feels a little bit of that happiness, of what true wisdom is, you don't have to become the Chafetz Chaim or the Chazon Ish to attain a little bit of wisdom or the feeling of it. The second he feels it, the second she feels it, the benefit of acquiring real wisdom and what it does to a person's life, you become hungry for more. Now you know already it's not going to be easy. Why? To get the first step was hard. You had to swallow your tongue when you really wanted to say something. You had to keep your feet still when you really wanted to go somewhere. You had to keep your thoughts to yourself when you had an idea that wasn't exactly 100% kosher. You had to keep your eyes focused on absolutely nothing instead of looking at something that's not allowed, and so on and so forth. It was hard to get there. But that little bit that you've acquired gives you enough momentum to keep going. Now, the beauty is that the longer you go on the right pace, the more you value wisdom, the more you value this joy of the soul. Why? Because when you're on a journey, in the beginning of the journey, you may have some high hopes of different things that you will attain once you arrive at the destination. And it has a mental value of X in your head. Now, if you arrive at your destination according to all of your plans, that value more or less doesn't change. Now, if the journey is much more difficult than you ever expected, instead of it taking an hour, it took you a day, 2 days, a week, a month to attain. Does that make the value less or more? Much more. The greater the difficulty, the greater the appreciation of its value, meaning the greater the value. The fact that it's much more difficult to attain the higher level of wisdom should not discourage you, but the opposite. Why? The longer you go on this right journey, and the more you feel little bits of enjoyment from time to time of attaining certain metrics, now you know that, okay, hold on a second, I'm already on this walk for 1,000 steps. So at the very least, it's worth 1,000 steps. Now you walk another 2,000 steps. The value has now increased by another 2,000. Yeah, you're not exactly where you want to be yet, but at the very least, that destination is worth more than 3,000. You thought it was worth 1,000. Now you've already walked 3,000. It's not that you're not appreciating and you say, no, it's not worth it. No, it's actually the opposite. It's actually worth even more. Why? Because I've tried even more on this. The harder you try, the more of yourself you put into anything, the more you appreciate it, the more valuable it is. That's why if you give, let's say, a kid a toy that's, let's say, a ready-made, I don't know, doll or car or something, and then you give him a Lego set to build of some ugly little thing, guess what? He'll appreciate that ugly little thing much more than the ready-made car. Why? He built this one. He built this one. In his eyes, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. Now you give a person an apartment. His parents, yeah, honey, listen, you could live in our second house that we have in Florida. Okay, so he lives in a house, nice house, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms. Great. You compare that to a house he builds with his own hands, that he worked for the money, he put some nails on the wall, maybe some plywood, maybe some things. That thing might as well be a shack, but he'll still love it much more than the house that was gifted to him for free. Much more. You see, guys, many times they like to work on cars. Some old beat up car that no one in their right mind will ever drive. But to them, that's their baby. They'll sell their kids for that car. Why? They put everything into that car. I don't necessarily recommend it, but nonetheless you get the point. The more you invest in something, the more valuable it becomes. The more you invest in your own neshama, in attaining the wisdom, by perfecting your character traits, the more valuable your neshama is going to be to you. Therefore, you'll protect it from things that ruin it. You'll protect it from seeing pornography. You'll protect it from seeing other immoral things. You'll protect it from being around certain people. You'll protect it from being around certain things. Why? It's valuable to me. I don't want to destroy it. It took me a while to get here. It's not that you don't want to have the conversation about nothing. It's that I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk this junk that you're talking about, some baseball and basketball and some other ball. I don't want to risk that being in my head for another week. Why? It took me X amount of time to not have it in my head. Now if I talk to you about it, and the goal that he scored, and the net that he ripped, and all these different things, that's not going to end there. It's going to continue. This is why if you leave one of these hobbies, whether you were a card player or a fan of sports, you can't do it just a little bit. Like if you want to make yourself pure mentally and spiritually, it has to be cold turkey. I can tell you from experience. I used to play cards. I love playing cards. Not for the gamble, simply for the mental capacity where you're able to analyze math and statistics and also read faces and do all types of other things. But I refuse to watch anything relating to it. Why? Because I know the few times that I did, it was enjoyable. I liked it. Oh yeah, he won, he lost. I knew he's going to win, I knew he's going to lose. And guess what? I finished watching that 2, 3, 4 minute video, but the video didn't finish with me. It was still with me 3, 4, 5, 6 days later. It's still there. And that's just a card game. Imagine other things, Hashem Yishmo. A person watches one of these filthy movies. Oh no, it's only 2 minutes. No, it's only 2 minutes that way. It's staying with you for a while, depending on what you're doing and what you're watching. And the more you invest in perfecting your neshama, the more valuable it becomes to you, and therefore, the less likely you are to simply risk it for nothing. Because you're trying to acquire wisdom. And Chazon Ish is telling us we cannot acquire wisdom if our character traits are in the way. Now, if a person does not acknowledge these things and simply thinks that they're just going to acquire wisdom the old-fashioned way that people think they can by simply reading books, What does that look like? Years ago, Rav Shach, who was an enormous Talmid Chacham, zealous for Hashem, a lion for the truth, all these things you could catch him doing is learning Torah. But one day he comes into the Bet Midrash with a clip out of a newspaper. Gets the attention of the few thousand men that are in there, and he shows them a picture. And what is this picture? Picture of Einstein. A born Jew that wasn't exactly religious, to say the least, sticking his tongue out. Very famous picture. Anyone that knows who Einstein is has probably seen this picture. It's perhaps the most famous picture of Einstein's life. But what most people don't know is the story behind the picture. Einstein was called by a journalist for an interview. And a journalist ran late by 10 minutes. Einstein, that valued his time more than he valued people, got so frustrated that the journalist showed up to his house late that when he knocked on his door at 12:10 instead of 12 o'clock, Einstein, in his anger, opened the door, stuck his tongue out at him, and shut it in his face. Meaning, I don't want to talk to you. Now, with all of the math and physics and sciences that he could fit into his brain, that today is cut up and distributed among different colleges as an experiment in Princeton University and other places, with all of that mental capacity that he was able to attain, it was all summed up as simply an act of a monkey. No different. All of that wisdom did not change his behavior one bit. Acted just like a monkey or a 3-year-old, whichever one you want to pick. From that picture, had you not known who that is, you'd simply say, who is this fool? Why is he in the newspaper? What has the world come to that they put such fools in a newspaper? The only reason why people share it is because, oh yeah, that's Einstein. They completely ignore the fact the guy's acting like an animal in the picture. But for Ben Torah, for a grown man to stick his tongue out as an insult, what's wrong with you? Where's your brain? Where is your brain? Where is this PhD and D and this D and that D? Where is all of that? Where's all that wisdom? Where's E equals MC squared? Where is that? Nowhere. Why? That intellect did not change the character traits. Wisdom changes character traits, not intellect. Now, when a person is on their tshuva journey, they're going to hear different types of stories about Chassidut, about the sages. One of my favorite stories is the story of Rabbi Zusha. When a couple of Talmidei Chachamim, some say they went to his Rav, Magid Mimezrich. Some say they went to his brother, Rabbi Elimelech Milizhinsk. And they went and asked the Rav a question. They said, the Gemara tells us in Masechet Brachot that we are obligated to thank Hashem in kind, and just the same, for good and for bad. You get $1 million, Baruch Hashem. You lose $1 million, Baruch Hashem. Someone asked me last week when I posted that I don't feel well and I have a cold and I want to get anybody to catch it. But I started with Baruch Hashem. I said, why are you saying Baruch Hashem that you have a cold? I told him, this is the reason. Because you're obligated to say Baruch Hashem, good or bad. But it wasn't a stupid question. It's a serious question. Two Talmidei Chachamim went to the Magid MiMezrich and said, how come you say Baruch Hashem for both, good or bad? So the Magid says, I can't answer that question. You have to get the answer from Rabbi Zusha. He knows the answer. Where is he? He's in his house. So this was a stormy day full of snow. And it's been snowing for a few days, so it wasn't exactly an easy journey. But these two Talmidei Chachamim wanted the answer bad enough that they were willing to go through the storm to go find the answer. They went. They finally arrived at this house. It was full of snow. The person that lives in there surely has not left the house in a few days because the whole door was covered. They take down the snow, get into the house, after knocking, of course, that they're entering, and they see inside the house, the heater is not on, there's no fire whatsoever, it's freezing, and then you see Rabbi Zusha studying his Torah with a smile, ear to ear, happiness, mamash glowing, as if he's in Gan Eden. He said, Rabbi Zusha, he looks at them happy. Oh, how are you? Hey, how are you? Well, the Rav sent us here to ask you a question. You saw the Magid MiMezrich? Whoa, Shechem, wow, amazing. Tell him I said hello, yeah, please, wow, it's such a merit. You saw the Rav, wow. Okay, but he asked us to ask you a question. He said, you have an answer for this question. So he said, Rabbi, Zusha has an answer. Zusha has an answer for a question? Yeah. What's the question? The question is, Rav, the Torah tells us that we have to thank Hashem for good and for bad just the same. How can we do that? How can we thank for good health and for sickness the same way? Rabbi Zusha looks at them, puzzled, for a few moments, until he says to them, it's very strange that the Rav asked you to ask Zusha this question. How would Zusha ever know such a thing? Zusha doesn't know an answer to such a thing because nothing bad ever happened to Zusha. How would I know how to act if something bad happened? From that, they learned the answer. That if you have a pure mind, you look at everything as good, even when it looks bad. Now, the stories of Chassidut teach us the outcome of perfecting your character traits. When you learn about Rabbi Zusha, when you learn about the Baal Shem Tov, when you learn about the Chazon Ish, and you learn about all of the tzaddikim, the Sipurei tzaddikim, the Sipurim of the stories of the different Hasidim, they teach you the outcome of perfecting your character traits. What does that look like? MUSSAR, on the other hand, teaches you how to get there. So when anyone tells you, no, why don't you learn some Chassidut? Tell them you are. Because you are. In order to arrive at a stage of thinking like a Rabbi Zusha, of thinking like a Baal Shem Tov, of thinking, you need to know how to get there, because you can't just one day wake up and be Zusha and pretend like you're happy. You see a few people pretend here and there. And they pretend because they like to dance in the shul, and they want to dance and take shachrit for 3 hours. But the second something happens, oh, I was so nervous. What do you mean? What happened to Zusha? What happened to the Zusha in you? You were dancing in shul for the last 6 months. The prayer took 50% longer because of your dancing. Why are you nervous right now? What happened? Why? Oh, so the whole thing is a fake. You just like dancing. It has nothing to do with happiness. You can't just skip to be Zusha. You have to learn how to get there. Getting there, Rabotai, means we have to perfect our character traits step by step. Acknowledging our flaws, addressing those flaws, perfecting them one by one through different works of the sages, different works of the Torah, different reflections, understanding the difference of good and bad, but most importantly, understanding that the risk we have is too great the longer we're on this journey. Why? Because you've already invested a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years learning Torah. In some cases, people that watch us, 5, 10, 20, 30 years learning Torah. You've already invested all of these steps with really an understanding that at some point you will be better. At some point you'll be a better version of yourself. So there's already an inherent value that your journey is worth. You can't just throw it away. You've already walked 1,000 steps. You already walked a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years worth of steps. So that already means that your journey, and in essence, your destination, is worth more than the steps you've already taken. You can't just give it up. You have to try to keep going further and further and further, because the value is extraordinary. Now, at the pinnacle of things, a person can get to a point where they've literally removed their desires from their life. They don't see the difference between good and bad. Whether it's Rabbi Zusha or it's Rabbi Ovadia. When his Rabbanit Margalit told him, listen, I'm going to sleep, but I left you a dish on the stove. Just make sure to eat tonight. Okay, Rabbanit, good night. The next day, the Rabbanit comes to him. No, how come you didn't eat? He goes, no, I ate, Rabbanit. I ate. No, I ate. I'm telling you, I ate. What do you mean you ate? I ate. I was full. I ate. It was good. Baruch Hashem. Rabbanit is confused. She goes to the pot. She sees the pot hasn't been touched. The Rab is not a liar. What does she notice? Next to the pot, there was another pot. But the other pot was cooking starch. You probably don't know what that is, because you live in modern society today. And you take your shirts to the dry cleaner anytime you need somebody, right? In those days, in order to harden the color, okay, you had to put starch on it. And starch, you had to make at home. You had to cook it. And that's what she was doing. She was cooking the starch that was with chemicals to make sure the colors are strong enough. Rav Ovadia was so deep in his Torah, he just saw a pot, okay, he put some bread in it, and started eating while he's learning. No difference to him. Us, we get a dish from our wives. Can you have some salt, please? Some salt. You didn't put pepper in this? You don't have any pepper? How come I work all week? You can't buy any pepper? What, there's no pepper in the world? You can't put olives on this? Why? What ingredient is missing already? We want to sell her. We want to sell our wives. You go to a restaurant. No, it's not spicy enough. Take it back. Take it back. What? This is well done. This is what you call well done. Give this to you. Hey, give it to me. I'm paying $100 for this steak. We notice everything. Why? We're not Rav Ovadia. Doesn't make us bad. Doesn't make us bad. But it shows us there's a difference. There's a difference. When a person acquires real wisdom, that means the more wisdom, the more separated they are from their desires. It's not that they don't notice the bad in the world. Is that every turn turns into good. Why? This is the will of Hashem. Somebody wrote an article about you, against you, Baruch Hashem. Somebody made a video about you, Ishtabach Shimo. Flat tire, wow, what a gift. What a gift. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. What's the problem? HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. What are you complaining about? But if my world is only based on my desires, then it has to operate based on my likings, based on the taste, the right amount of sugar, and the right amount of salt, and the right amount of sweetness, and the right amount of different things, different pleasures, different pressures, different this, different that. We're never happy. Why? It's never enough. So you see, Rabotai, it's not just about Gan Eden Gehenom. It's this world. It's when you acquire wisdom, by perfecting your character traits, you also acquire Gan Eden in this world. Because everything turns into good, including the bad that we perceive as bad. But when you perceive the bad as the will of Hashem, this is how you could understand the Baal Shem Tov saying, if Hashem tells me I need to go to Gehenom, I'm jumping head first. Why? It's the will of Hashem. Why? It's the best thing in the world. If He tells me to go to Gehenom, I'm jumping in. That's what it means. That's not that the Baal Shem Tov wants to go to Gehenom. It's that he's so glued to Hashem. He says, if that's the will of Hashem, it must be the best option. When a person acquires wisdom by perfecting their character traits, everything turns into the will of Hashem. Everything turns into good. Whereas when a person lets their desires run their life, in essence, the Satan is navigating them like a ship. Go right, go left, go up, go down, go this, go that. Everything is terrible. Why? It's never enough. It's never going to be sweet enough. It's not going to be fast enough. It's never going to be enough. And it's always going to be, that's it. That's it. Who wants to live such a life? That's Gehenom. And the worst part about it, you get punished for it too. The other one, you enjoy and you get rewarded for it. Double dipping. You enjoy and you get to actually a reward for it. The other one, you're miserable and you get punished for it. But you look happy. Because you have Facebook pictures that show you're happy with your family. So you see, Rabotai Karim, happiness is one of those things that you have to work at, but when you acquire it, it simply increases its value exponentially. One thing I could tell you is that when it comes down to people that do not take the advice of the Torah and risk it, there's a very strong point I want to bring, not to finish off on a negative note, but to explain the risk. Because I told you and I promise you there's something that's going to be that's scary, but important. In the book of Samuel 2, in chapter 21, there is the whole story of the Gibeonites. Now, the Gibeonites, sages tell us that they were all converts. Converts to Judaism, keeping Shabbat, keeping Kashrut, keeping the laws. But because Shaul HaMelech felt that they were against him, he took away their finances and caused them to go into starvation. Some people died, suffered. Time passed. David HaMelech came into power and wanted to make peace with the Gibeonites. Enough's enough. He was never at war with them, but he wanted them to be part of Am Yisrael. Let the past be the past. Let's move on. Because you know that you need to have unity among Am Yisrael, and certain things that were done in the past weren't so good. Shaul HaMelech was punished by Hashem for doing what he did. But the point being is that it's done. All that's left is a few of his descendants. Has nothing to do with him. And surely David wasn't exactly the best friends with Shaul anyway, so it's not like he's like protecting him. Shaul was trying to kill David HaMelech also. But nonetheless, as a king, David comes to them and says, okay, let the past be the past, and let's move on. In chapter 21, verse number 2, it says, so the king called the Gibeonites and spoke to them. But then the verse goes completely haywire. ויקרא המלך לגבעונים ויאמר עליהם והגבעונים לא מבני ישראל המה כי אם מיתר האמורי ובני ישראל נשבעו להם ויבקש שאול להכותם בקנאתו לבני ישראל ויהודה. Says, so the king called the Gibeonites and spoke to them. The Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but from the remnant of the Amorite. The children of Israel had sworn not to harm them, but Shaul had tried to strike them down in his zeal for the children of Israel and Judah. The verse starts as an event, a conversation, if you will, where David HaMelech calls the Gibeonites, tell them something. But then it says that the Gibeonites are not part of Am Yisrael. They're part of the Amorites. They're Goyim. But we all know they're Jews. What happened here? The Gemara says in Masechet Yevamot, page 79a, there are 3 signs for Am Yisrael to know that you're connected to Avraham Avinu. You have to be shy, kind, and merciful. Person doesn't have these 3 traits, he's not acting like a Jew. David HaMelech came to the Gibeonites and he said, let the past be the past. Let's move on. And the Gibeonites respond saying, no. We're not going to forgive. We want blood. We're only going to let it go after we kill all of the descendants of Shaul HaMelech. David tries to reason with them. Tells them they're not even connected to him. They weren't part of the whole thing. They have nothing to do with it. Why do you want to just kill innocent people? And the Gibeonites say, that's the way it is. He hurt us. They're related to him. We need blood. David HaMelech, the grandfather of the Mashiach, decrees at that moment, you, the Gibeonites, are no longer part of Am Yisrael. Decree, halakha. You are no longer Am Yisrael. You're no longer considered part of Am Yisrael. No one is allowed to marry you. When Ezra HaSofer came generations later, this decree continued. Why? Because the psak halakha of David HaMelech was paskined in Shamayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu paskined it for eternity. Gibeonites, no longer part of Am Yisrael. Why? Your character traits are too flawed. You can no longer be part of Am Yisrael. Why? You do not have mercy in you. You do not have forgiveness in you. You have too much hatred in you. You cannot be part of Am Yisrael. You just want to kill. You just want to hurt. You want to destroy. Why? Because somebody hurt you? Okay, they hurt you. Fine. But enough. Chalas, move on. Let's move on. Why do you got to keep going? Somebody that hurts you, he's already gone. Finished. We're trying to move on with other people. We're trying to move on with new times. No, we want blood. Oh, you want blood? You're not part of Am Yisrael. You're like Ishmael. You're like Esav. You're like something else. You're not like Am Yisrael. Why? Am Yisrael has to be forgiving. Has to be merciful. Your character traits are simply unforgiving because you experience something bad and you're faulting even people that are not related to it. You're simply saying, wait, one rabbi told you the wrong thing, therefore all rabbis are wrong. One woman did the wrong thing to you, you hate all women now. One guy cheated on you, therefore all men are terrible. One company did this to you, therefore all companies are bad. No, my friend. That's not the way it works. You cannot get a judgment in your own mind to be like that. Why? Because you're in essence just saying that everyone that is not even related, but just happens to be in the same industry, in the same field, in the same house, in the same network, is guilty by indirect association? No, that's not the way it works. That's not mercy. That's not nothing. That is a problem with you. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's like saying, oh, one guy in a neighborhood, he beat up somebody, therefore the whole neighborhood is bad. No, it doesn't work that way. One Jew is bad doesn't make the whole nation bad. One guy is bad doesn't make all the goyim bad. You cannot make people guilty by indirect association. If they were involved, that's a different story. But no, once you simply make everybody same color, same shape, because you got hurt and you got taken advantage of at some point, no, that has nothing to do with them. That has to do only with you and your bad character traits. And David HaMelech made mamash a decree. Those people are no longer part of Am Yisrael. To teach us that if the psak here is such, so it is in Shamayim. When we learn what the sages say, and they say we need to refine our character traits, they're not really making a suggestion. They're actually telling us what we're supposed to know already. If the Chazon Ish is telling us that the way to acquire wisdom is to soften our character traits and work on ourselves, and we say the heck with his advice, I'm going to figure it out another way, that's not exactly a good idea. Why? Because this is, in essence, HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaking to you through the sages. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is speaking to us through the Chazon Ish, through David HaMelech, through the Chumash, through all of this. If we don't take this and let it go through us as a vessel and learn from it, acknowledge it, actually apply it to our life, then all we're doing is we're being like the Gibeonites. No. We want blood. We want blood. We want our own way. David HaMelech says, that's not how a Jew acts. Jewish HaShkafa, Rabotai, is one of those things that is critical for a person in order to attain everything that's of any value of this world. But at the same token, it's important for us to know that just as it is valuable, the longer we go, the risk of not going, of not doing it, also increases as we get further and further along. Meaning, the longer we ignore the message from the sages, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the greater the risk. The more we simply say, nah, I'm not ready to keep Shabbat. I'm not ready to keep myself pure. I'm not ready to be modest. I'm not ready to this. I'm just going to continue doing whatever I want. I'm going to continue operating the way I want. The longer we do that, the greater the damage, the greater the risk. This is why it's critical to learn both aspects of it. There's a benefit to it, but there's also a risk for not doing it. That way, when you know, if there's only a benefit to it and you just don't want the benefit, then you just don't want the benefit. But when you know that there's also a risk, now you say to yourself, you know what, okay, well, I definitely don't want to lose, and says, I'm already going to do it, might as well go for the benefit. That's when you teach Torah, you have to always teach reward and punishment. You can't just teach about reward. You also can't teach just about punishment. You have to have a mix. Sometimes the shiur is about punishment. Sometimes the shiur is about reward. Sometimes it's about a mix of both. But generally speaking, you have to always know that both are very much the entire Torah. Because if you simply look at just one or the other, it's the wrong direction. David HaMelech gives us a clear warning of what happens if we ignore Kadosh Baruch Hu's guidance and His laws. Last week's parasha gave us serious warnings of what happens if we ignore His guidance and His laws. The Gemara tells us that even if we don't understand these laws, we have no right to question them. And the Chazon Ish tells us clearly that the only reason why we don't understand them is because we're getting in our own way. Because we have terrible character traits, terrible flaws, whether it be arrogance or stinginess or whatever it is, that's not making us a vessel. BeEzrat Hashem, this too encourages us to make ourselves better vessels in the coming days to prepare for Rosh Hashanah. So BeEzrat Hashem, we give HaKadosh Baruch Hu the encouragement to give us a better judgment in order to give us more time to do His will as He willed it. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen.
B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach, we're very excited to offer you the new BeEzrat Hashem app 3.0. It's a newer, faster app full of Torah, lots of Kedusha by the shiurim that we do, myself, Rav Ephraim, Rav Chaim, where you'll have also newer features where you're able to use the app while you're using other applications on your phone. You'll be able to share the lectures directly from the app. You'll be able to donate online and support our KIRUV and our Torah work that we're doing. And the most exciting feature is that you'll be able to actually ask questions directly on the app and get answers from the rabbis directly from the app. This is something unprecedented, and Baruch Hashem will be able to offer it. Thank you again for all of your support. Check it out. Make sure you have the kosher Torah that will re-energize your neshama each and every single day. Call to B'chavatzlacha.